Welcome to the latest Gramophone Podcast, in which I'm delighted to be joined by the superb trumpeter Tine Thing Helseth to discuss her wonderful new album featuring concertos by Alexandra Arutiunian, Christoph Penderecki and Michel Weinberg, as well as Arutiunian's vibrant theme and variations. The album was recorded with the Bergen Philharmonic Orchestra and conductor Petr Popelka and is available on the Lawo Classics label. And Tina is here on the podcast to tell me all about it. Tina, hello.
Hello. Yeah, thank you for having me here.
Pleasure. So let's dive straight in. These three concertos clearly mean a lot to you. So tell me about the programme and why you've matched all these works.
Well, first of all, I'm very, very excited for the album with these concertos to get to record them. And I kind of have different relationships with them. I guess the Arutiunian concerto, it's the one that's been with me the longest. For trumpet players, this is, one of the pieces that everyone has to play together with the Haydn and the Hummel concerto. Maybe, those are the three maybe main, most famous concertos somehow. Of course, we have several more, but it's a piece that it's, on one hand, it's demanding, but still, when you play it when you're young or as a student, it kind of works well. Still, it's great music that works on many levels, I guess you can say. So it's a piece that most trumpet players love to play because it kind of works. So the first time I played it, I was very young. I think I was like 14 or something. And of course now I just turned 38. So it's been with me for a long time. So I was excited to finally get to record it with the Bergen Philharmonic, which is also very special to me. It's the first professional orchestra I ever performed with when I was 16. So we have a relationship going way back. So it was extra special to do it with them. But anyway, yeah, so the Arutiunian concerto, always a huge hit with audience. It's beautiful. It's kind of like a quasi-romantic concerto, I would say. A bit Khachaturian style. Trumpet players, we don't have the romantic repertoire. There are no trumpet concertos from the Romantic era, which is basically the main era for most instruments. Violin and piano and cello, and that's where they have all their biggest hits and concertos, and we have nothing. Even though the instrument is perfect for that repertoire, and also the composer from that era wrote a lot of amazing stuff in their orchestral repertoire. So, but then this concerto, even though it's written in like 1950, well, I should know this, but around that time, it's still in that kind of quasi-romantic style. Very, beautiful melodies, and yeah.
I was going to say, I'm fascinated by your phrase that it just works. Is that a reference to how it sits within the instrument? You mentioned it's sort of beautiful romantic style. It's lushful. Yeah. It's soulful. There's drama too. It feels naturally sitting within the instrument sound world. Is that what you mean?
Yes, absolutely. It's very well written for the instrument. It feels good to play. And it's something about those the soulful melodies, but also the rhythmical stuff, the kind of catchy tune, I would say. Always if I play it with an orchestra, I always feel like someone goes whistling or singing on the main fast theme. It's very catchy, and it has the most amazing opening with just the in the timpani and lower strings, this kind of like rumbling kind of thing going on underneath, and then you just start with this beautiful, expressive, kind of dramatic Here I Am kind of opening in the for the trumpet. So it's really just bang on with drama.
It's one long continuous piece, but it is within sections.
Yes, it's like it basically just goes in one, but I guess you can say that there is like an opening and a fast section, then there is some slow beautiful things, a bit of fast again, and then this beautiful muted section with this dialogue duo with the cellos and then the horns, and it's kind of very intimate, very simple somehow too. Very like just play it and it kind of goes straight to the heart somehow. Just play it as simple as possible, and I think that's when it works. Kind of, it's very, like, how do you say, honest and truthful from the composer, I think. And then a bit of fast again, like the reprise coming back, and then this long cadenza showing off everything the trumpet can do, which is actually not written by Arutiunian, but by Timofey Dokshitzer, which is the trumpet player. Amazing at his time. That yes, he did. So he kind of, so everyone, well, I know there are other cadenzas out there, but I've never heard anyone play it. It's like, that's the cadenza you play. Yeah, it is a very good cadenza. So
the cadenza was actually sort of sanctioned, wasn't it, by Arutiunian? He said, this is okay, you can use this.
Yes, but actually I performed the concerto in Helsinki with the Philharmonic there some months ago, and then the conductor, I mean, in the score that they had, it was actually a different cadenza, which was, so I just took a photo of it, and I'm gonna, check it out. It was very different. I don't know if that's, who did that one, but it was actually the first time that I've ever seen another cadenza, so it was exciting.
And it is interesting you point out, right, like there's no romantic era trumpet concertos, but there is great trumpet writing within wider orchestral music. And actually this sort of demonstrates something wonderful about the threading of the trumpet into the orchestral textures. Even though it is a concerto, it just feels like there's so much interplay. It feels that it's sitting in this extraordinary sound world among your instrumental colleagues so well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's very well orchestrated, so that when you play it in concert, it feels it's the right amount of space in kind of both. I mean, of course, people will say that the trumpet is, you will always hear the trumpets, kind of, but still it's very much possible for a composer to orchestrate in a way that it feels hard to kind of just get through and have that solo space, kind of, so that you can also play really soft when you have to, and still in the very loud sections, like you can be on top of the orchestra without feeling like you have to really work crazy to manage that. And so this is the way that he has written this concerto, feels very good to play as well. It feels very natural.
Let's come on to talk about Penderecki's concertino.
Yes.
There's a high variety of virtuosity and atmosphere in here. And I was intrigued to read that Penderecki had wanted to hear and explore different trumpets before deciding what to write for, settling on the C trumpet and the flugelhorn. Can you give me a sense of what differently each instrument brings to the performance and offers you as a player?
In a way, we are quite fortunate as trumpet players that we have different instruments to play on. We don't just have the one violin or the one, I mean, I do, different violin sounds different and different piano sounds different, of course, and so on. But we can change around with the C trumpet, B flat trumpet, E flat that we, play for most people play for the classical concertos. Then you have the piccolo trumpet, you have the flugelhorn, like here, with the more mellow, round, soft sound somehow. And of course, then you have like cornets, the brass band tradition, everything that you have so great in the UK and that we also have here in Norway. No, so we have different possibilities in that sense. I mean, I would say that my main instrument normally is my C trumpet. But I mean, in this album, actually, both the Arutiunian pieces and the Weinberg concerto is on my B flat. But then the Penderecki is C trumpet. And B flat is the instrument that everyone starts with when they start to learn the trumpet. That's like the trumpet. So it's tuned in B flat. But then the C trumpet has a more brighter, maybe more sparkly sound somehow, which works really well for solo repertoire, the kind of more modern, maybe, the French repertoire, the American repertoire, like all those kind of things. So, and when I do all the things that I love to do with I transcribe a lot of music, play music that is original for other instruments or the voice, then C trumpet is always kind of my go-to instrument, because I feel like I can express maybe the most different sounds on my C trumpet. So I do feel that the way that he has written this piece, I mean, it's actually quite interesting. It's a very late piece, And I actually asked him. I met him not so long before he died. And I asked him about the piece, and he said, "Oh, it's a sweet little piece." That's what he called it, kind of. So I kind of had that in mind when I recorded. Thought it was quite fun, because compared to his earlier music, this is quite. Some of it is quite, light in a way. It's a bit of some kind of jazzy element somehow, you would say, with the flugelhorn. Beautiful, beautiful melody in the flugelhorn section in the second movement. But I do think that the kind of brilliance and the kind of that kind of part of the C trumpet really works. The sparkly, but I can understand that he wanted it for C trumpet and not B flat. And then of course this beautiful, more soft, long lines melody in the flugelhorn in the second movement, which is also feels very good.
No, absolutely. It is wonderful, and it's fascinating to hear he described it like that, and he must have been very thrilled to know that you were championing it.
Well, he seemed happy that people were performing it and that I was performing it, and yeah, I had the honor of playing in Poland when he had this hall named after him, and that I got to play in there. I didn't play his piece. I played another piece actually by an American composer that was written for the occasion, but Elliot Goldenthal wrote for me. But he was there, and you get the chance to speak to him, which I'm happy that I got to do before he passed.
Did he say anything about the piece apart from that lovely comment? Did you have a conversation actually about it, sort of structurally or lyrically or musically?
No, it was mostly that. I mean, it was in a reception as well with a lot of people around, so I didn't like go into it. I just said, I'm going to play your piece and I'm excited about it. And he said, that's very nice. And he probably said something else, but it was this one kind of thing that a sweet little piece kind of felt. Because it's not really that sweet and little. I mean, it's quite demanding for the instrument, but it should sound quite easy. But I mean, it's a lot of up and down and like intervals, and it's quite demanding playing wise. The feel of the piece, I guess, is somehow, I mean, it's a concertino, so it's not so long, but it's a lot of work.
Sure. And then Weinberg's trumpet concerto, composed in 1967, which you, or certainly the booklet notes, describe as a mix of wit, darkness, and theatricality.
Yeah, I know it's quite an interesting and amazing piece. It's a huge piece, I would say. I mean, I think the first time I played it, I was asked by the orchestra in Warsaw to play it as this kind of Weinberg festival. I seem to remember, like there was only his music. It was the first time I did it, and I immediately drawn to playing it. The first time I remember was also kind of a bit terrifying because we had like one rehearsal, and it's quite just kind of daunting, the whole experience to do it, but it was a very nice experience. I remember afterwards, and to see how it felt with the audience, and now recently I've done it quite a lot, and it's, I mean, it's how to say, I mean, it's three kind of very different movements. It starts with like, it's kind of aggressive, kind of, or a lot of energy going on, and a bit of, and the themes are a bit theatrical in a way, like sarcastic, like almost sometimes a bit like uncomfortable but happy, like the kind of clown, like something is happening, it's a bit happy but it's very sad and very like I mean, he was a very close friend with Shostakovich, and the time that he lived in, you can kind of feel that there is a lot of tension in his music.
No, that's a really interesting way of putting it.
Yeah. And then the second movement is kind of opens with this almost 2-minute long orchestral kind of thing, just a bit, I don't know, religious somehow feeling, I don't know, or how to describe it, and then I come in with this really beautiful soulful kind of melody, and the harp comes in, and it seems for a little while maybe that everything is going to be okay, but then not really. And then you come to the last movement, which is very it's a very strange movement. It's kind of like a cadenza-ish, I would say, at least the first part of it, or over half of it. It's kind of a mix of different orchestral excerpts that you recognize. It's like this, the bell kind of, and the starts the movement, and then this kind of carpet-ish feeling of low strings, and then or timpani or this kind of just underneath, and then I start, and it sounds like the opening of Mahler 5 for a couple of bars, but then he goes into, it's a surprise. It's the kind of opening of Midsummer Night's Dream by Mendelssohn instead, and then there is a bit of Petrushka going on, which for trumpet players going for auditions for orchestras, the Petrushka, that kind of little excerpt is always like the opening, the Mahler 5 and the Petrushka is always a part of the audition repertoire. And then there's a bit of Tchaikovsky. It's a bit of Carmen Bizet in the end. It's a bit of like everything. It's very, and then he kind of the trumpet goes off in all directions together with the percussion, high and low and fast, and just really, and then it ends with this kind of waltz with a mute, kind of slow, and then bam, it's a loud chord in the orchestra, and it's done. It's a very strange last movement. It's done now after playing. The concerto is quite long, but I like it. I mean, it's never a dull moment in that concerto. People that hear it are always very fascinated. And it's nice to get to record it. I feel like Weinberg is getting like a new spring, we say in Norwegian. Is that a thing you say in English?
Absolutely, and it's a shame he obviously didn't live long enough to see that. But it's in the years since, certainly in the last decade or so. I think you're absolutely right.
Which is amazing because his music is really special. So I'm very happy to record this concerto.
Wonderful, and it's good. Yeah, it's good to have recordings like this as part of that Weinberg revival, if that's the right way of putting it. And then the recording closes. We're back to Arutiunian again with his themes and variations, or theme and variations. A portrait, perhaps the trumpeter for which it was written. Tell me about this work. This is quite an interesting piece that I don't think lots of people will know.
No, I mean, it is a very unknown piece, actually. I never performed it live. We just did it for the recording. I thought it was a great piece to include, which, because everyone plays the concerto, and it's and I can understand that absolutely. But this is a very different piece. It's a bit like I don't know, different. Yeah, you have the theme in the beginning, and then the variations, like you said, different portraits of the trumpet. A little bit, some of it's fun and fast and like catchy and a bit jazzy, some of it, and then suddenly quite serious and long lines, and again he has this beautiful muted section, which is maybe the most kind of more beautiful place in the piece, in the sort of the fourth variations, or this piece also kind of when you play it, it's like together. Of course, in an album you can choose the variation, but playing it kind of goes attacca, the whole piece, and it ends really brilliantly and fun and fast and like this. I loved recording it with the orchestra. It's really expressive and has this thing. I really felt like I was on top of the world a couple of times there when I really got to bring out my Russian style vibrato and this kind of really powerful. Well, it's Armenian, so it's not. But Timofey Dokshitzer, that this was written for, he was Russian, so his way of playing, which is amazing, it's a bit like we have a couple of those really important figures, trumpet players. We have Maurice André in the French tradition, and then Timofey Dokshitzer is the more Russian tradition, and it's maybe a bit like Heifetz and those kind of thing that no one really plays exactly like that anymore, and probably we shouldn't but it's amazing, really, really inspiring to listening to. I mean, I remember my teacher telling me when I studied that one of his most memorable and incredible experiences ever was a concert with with Doc Schützer playing live the Arutiunian concerto, and he just played with his heart out there, and he didn't care at all if he missed a note or cracked or whatever. It was just like pure kind of this he just had to play the music, like it was all about the music. And then no one cares if you crack a note. I mean, I play the trumpet, you do that, it's part of the game, and you have to just let go and play in that well, which is so inspiring, and which I really think that I encourage all the students that I meet and all my students in here in Oslo to just like listen to him. I mean, it's very, very inspiring. So when I recorded, I try to do a little bit of Doc Schützer here and there. Yeah, it's inspiration.
Channeling his style. But no, I think you're right also about that notion of just playing out, not worrying too much about a inverted commas perfection, which actually can stop you doing what music's meant to do, which is to really be to really speak with it and to really be naturally inside it.
Absolutely. I mean, perfection is boring. I mean, I think one of my favorite thing that I heard was like, the reason we care for someone or fall in love with someone or something is not because what they're good at. It's because of the small, when you see the person, when you see the flaws or the imperfections or just like who this person is, that's what you fall in love with. I mean, that's why we immediately want to take care of babies or like puppies or something, because they don't know what they're doing, and we just really care for them immediately. And I think it's the same with performances. Like if people just really care for something or like feel like they can connect and experience something, if it's a performer that doesn't care about the perfection but really just try to show all the vulnerable feelings and all the vulnerable sides, and it's very personal to be on stage. And if you manage to let go, then of course you will of course you know your instrument, you know the piece, so it's not like you don't play well, of course you do, but it's all about just letting go and then really connecting, and not play polished and all the attacks should be perfect or whatever. I mean, what is that? That's boring. There's no personality in it. So we need, I don't know, I get very inspired by those kind of things, to try to not think of perfection as a concept even. I mean, it's not something that I want to achieve, because I don't think that's what, for me, what's making music is about.
No, that's beautifully put. Not that listeners will find any flaws or imperfections in this recording. They will find, though, plenty of personality and individuality. Let's talk about life beyond this recording. You're also artistic director of the Resort Chamber Music Festival, which took place a couple of months ago or a month ago. You've also been performing a new trumpet concerto written for you by Nico Muli, and also your Tine Thing brass ensemble. I mean, how important is it to have all these different dimensions of your artistic life, and how do they all relate?
I mean, I have to have these different things, otherwise, I don't know. I love that I get to do a lot of different things, because I mean, at the end of the day, this is my life that I live, and so I feel very privileged that I can do projects that I enjoy doing, and that brings me a lot of joy, and well, not only joy, but just like feels good, and especially, I mean, the festival in Risør it's one of my absolute favorite things to do. I think about it every day. Already, of course, planning for the 26th festival and also 27, and just thinking about the musicians I want to invite, that I think the audience in Risør will enjoy, and just who play together, what kind of repertoire, what kind of concepts, what kind of things you can do in all kinds of styles. And I don't know, as I said, I mean, I think about it every day, just love doing that. And It's of course hard work, but we are a very small little team that the festival director and the producer and me that works all year round. But I mean, it's so rewarding that I love doing it. And of course, also my brass ensemble, Tine Thing. We've been playing together for 18 years now, and we have 1 or 2 tours a year. All girls that a lot of us studied together. We started when we studied, and it's a pure kind of project of love. And we it's nice to get to travel with friends. And I mean, as a soloist, I travel mostly alone. So that's nice. And then of course also to get to perform new concertos, like the piece by Nico Muhly that he just wrote for me, that I'm in the middle of the commission year kind of, or seasons, doing it now for the 3rd time with the Oslo Phil in a month's time, is extremely exciting, because it's, with this piece with Nico, I really feel like he has understood me as a musician and as a person somehow, musical persona somehow. So playing it feels very much like me, which is of course, the most amazing feeling. But I mean, at the end of the day, there's more to life than just playing the trumpet. So I don't know, I'm trying to just have a mix of things that I do in my life that makes me have a good time with my husband and friends and family, and play the trumpet. I mean, I love to play the trumpet. So
yeah, good to hear that too. It's interesting what you say about the Nico Muhly piece. It's almost, which I haven't heard and really hope to be able to hear one day. Just as we were talking earlier about Arutiunian concerto perhaps being a portrait in some sense, or certainly the theme of variations of Dogschitzer, and maybe this is the portrait of you, and it must be very interesting for people to listen to, or when they play it later, to think it gives an insight into what you as a musician are like.
I think so. I mean, it's the way that Nico works. I mean, he's very much into. He's I mean, I've known him for many years. And we've finally kind of got this together after COVID, and when I was ill with my cancer stuff and everything. So it's kind of just been postponed for a long time, and then finally we got this now. He's been present in the recordings that I've had, both in Antwerp and in Amsterdam, and so he's very much there, very present. And of course he has his thoughts and ideas, but he's also very much just like me, like, this is your piece now, so you decide, or this is, I've written this for you, it's your piece. And that's a very good feeling. I mean, I think all the composers that I've been fortunate to work with over the years has kind of been like this, because it gives me a freedom to not think that, "Ooh, am I doing this right? And is there a crescendo here?" Or, like, if a composer is very like, have to do it like this, then it can feel a bit restricted, or like you can feel almost a bit scared to play it, to do something wrong. But it's great when a composer just like, this is your piece, you just do your thing, because that's when a piece works. That's when the music works. If I play that piece in a way that feels good for me, in my way of playing, then it's a good piece of music. Like, but if a performer, if you don't feel comfortable, this doesn't really feel like me, then it's sometimes harder to kind of get the music across, and maybe then it doesn't sound like so good music, but it might still be if there is another playing for it. I mean, this is if it's a piece that is really like specific for a certain player. But I think this piece, even though it's for me, then it's certainly a piece that I hope will live, for that other players want to play, because it's a very rewarding piece to play. Feels very good on the instruments, and I really love his sound world.
Wonderful. I look forward to hearing it. Well, just a reminder that Tine Thing Helseth's new album of music by Arutiunian, Penderecki and Weinberg, recorded with the Bergen Philharmonic Orchestra and conductor Petro Pekka, is available on the Lawo Classics label now. Tine, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to this Gramophone podcast. If you've enjoyed it, please do search for Gramophone wherever you find your podcasts. We have hundreds more episodes featuring leading artists to download and enjoy. And do subscribe for free to future episodes. And if you can, please leave us a rating or a review. It really helps others to discover our work. And speaking of subscribing, Gramophone Magazine is published every month in print and online and is packed full of reviews and features about the latest classical music releases. And all listeners to this podcast can get a 20% discount off any subscription package. Simply visit gramophone.co.uk/subscribe and enter the code podcast20 in the checkout. And do join us again next week for another Gramophone podcast.